So I want to go a little bit deeper into an explanation for some of these illusions that we've been talking about, and some others that are really popular right now. Like illusions are always popular. There's some that are more popular right now, and these are not them. So even though these are like some of the most famous ones on the internet, so let's talk about these really quickly. So based on these are both color illusions, right? So like, what's the color? The argument is that the dress is either white and gold or blue and black, and that the shoe is either pink and white or gray and green. So it's a color dispute essentially that's going on here. Well, what's going on? There's a few things that are going on. Number one is color constancy, and brightness constancy. There's kind of the same thing, some really related characteristics, but they're not exactly the same because one's color and one's brightness. So, like if you've watched any of my other videos, you've seen this before, right? This Rubik's Cube type thing up here. These two squares are the same actual color. Like in reality, they're the same color. But we don't perceive them that way. The reason we don't perceive them that way is because what it looks like is going on here is the entire cube on the left is bathed in red light. The entire cube on the right is bathed in green light, like they're in their own separate little boxes. And there's a light on that's reflecting red light or green light. And so what's happening is our brains are correcting for the environment, the color of the environment, and kind of like sucking out the red color on the left and the green color on the right. And what you're left with, your brain is perceiving. Obviously, we can tell that there's red and green colors there, but it's changing the color that we're perceiving the Rubik's Cube to be. So we're perceiving that more like what it should be, if it was a real picture of a real Rubik's Cube in an actual lighted environment, which of course it's not. It's just an illusion designed to trick us, right? It's an illusion designed to trick us based on things that we actually do that are functional to move through life. Like things don't change color when they go into a different lighting situation. My shirt doesn't become a different color when I have an LED bulb instead of a 60-watt filament bulb. It's the same color shirt, but the light that reflects off of it is different. So that's color constancy. Now, before I throw up a little bar that goes between these two, let's look down below. This is a brightness constancy. This is the Checker Shadow Illusion by Adelson. I think Adelson in 2001 is when this was published. These squares, A and B, or the two that I've got the little arrows on, those are the same shade of gray. So that's a brightness constancy. Why do they not look like they're the same shade of gray? Because one's in shadow and one isn't. And then also there's an influence of this checkerboard illusion going on as well. So we know that what's going on in the real world, if this was something we were actually seeing in the real world, is that all of those light gray squares coming down right here, those are all light gray. And all these dark gray squares are all dark gray. It doesn't matter what's going on in the shadow. Yeah, we can perceive that there's a shadow there, but then we're also perceiving that those are all the same color of gray in a diagonal line and all the same darker color of gray in another diagonal line. Because that's what happens, again, in life, in the real world. Things don't actually really change because there's a shadow on them. There's just a shadow on them. But with computers and illusions, we can make it the case that, there we go. Let's see, A and B are the same color. So all I did was pop a little rectangle over the top of those and color picker, the eyedropper thing, suck out the color there, make it the same color, and you can tell that it is the same color. That one kind of breaks the illusion, sort of. But what's crazy is up above on the Rubik's Cube, I did the same thing. And it doesn't really break the illusion. It looks like there's a gradient on that bar. There isn't. I didn't put a gradient on the bar. It's just one color. It's kind of this like gross brownish gray, even though it looks still like it's green or red, greenish or reddish. It's not either of those colors. It's brown. So that persists even though I'm trying to break the illusion by throwing the color across the two. But you can tell if you make your brain believe that that's just one color, which again it is. It's the same as the gray down here. Those are the same color. They match that bar. And so that's what's going on here. This is color constancy. Now there's a couple other things going on with the dress and the shoe. It's not just color and brightness constancy, because if it was just color and brightness constancy, then the tricks that I'm going to show you, the changes that I'm going to show you in a second, are going to work 100% for you. And I guarantee they're not going to work 100%. I'm not going to make you see it as blue and black and then immediately switch over to white and gold. It would be really cool if I could. It's not possible. So one of those things is both of these illusions came about during like cell phone age, right? Everyone saw the dress on their cell phone, maybe their laptop. But the thing about cell phones and laptops are you can change the brightness level. Some people like low brightness, some people like high brightness. If I don't have my glasses on, which I never do in these videos, but I should to see, like I'm nearsighted. If I don't have my glasses on, I need my phone at a much higher brightness because it's hard to make out the differences in things. If I do have my glasses on, then I can start to like turn the brightness way down because I can see the differences in letters and pictures and all sorts of things like that. There's other reasons, right? Visual acuity is one, and just personal preference is another. Also, where you're looking at it is another. If you're looking at your phone outside in the bright sunlight, if you live in Arizona, there's just bright sunlight all the time when you walk outside. It's impossible to see things on your phone, especially if it's not turned all the way up. So like I can walk outside and the brightness is down because like the last time I was looking at it was like maybe in bed the night before. So brightness is all the way down. Get up, go on my way to go in to teach or something like that, and it looks like my phone is dead because it's on. I just can't see it because there's so much glare. So I have to just kind of like hope that I know what I'm doing to turn the brightness up, and then it comes up. You got to turn it all the way up so you can see it in the sun. Then when you get in bed the next night, it's like too much light. So these all have an effect. The actual brightness of the device you're looking at it on, your phone, your laptop, can have variable brightnesses. The other thing is different screens, different manufacturers, different products from the same manufacturer, they all have slightly different color displays, just slightly. In fact, I've got two monitors in front of me right now. One is my recording monitor, which is in line with this camera. The other one is actually like showing me what you're seeing over here to my right. And they have different colors. It's not the same color of orange displayed on both of them. The orange on my primary monitor is a brighter orange than the one that's displaying, but it's a tealish blue in the top left corner, and on the monitor over here it's like a bluish blue color. And so there's a huge difference just in monitor and phone. So just there's different colors, there's different brightnesses, there's different colors. Now you would think that that would just kind of influence the way that you see the dress the first time, and when somebody else shows you their phone, you should be seeing the same thing that they're seeing, right? No, because there's something called hysteresis, which means that we want to stay where we were when we first saw something. You see this dress, you see it as blue and black, and no matter what somebody shows you, your cognitive system wants to stay where it was. It's blue and black, and so it just kind of logs it in. So you can do all sorts of color corrections, and you still kind of see it as blue and black. So, or white and gold. So what I'm going to show you in a second of ways to push this around, they're not going to work a ton. You're not going to immediately switch your perception, but what's going to happen is you will start to see like a really light blue that you're like, well, I could see how some people might think that that's white, but you'll still think that it's blue. Or if you're on the other side, you'll see like a bluishness to the white and say like, well, yeah, I could see how some people might be confused and see it as blue, right? Okay. So, color and brightness constancy, actual color and brightness settings, hysteresis, these all mostly explain what's going on with the dress. The other thing, to go back to color and brightness constancy, is where you come into the dress. So let's take a look at the dress. So I think I have to move my head because I've got some labels over here. There we go. We're going to look at brightness first, just differences in brightness. But before we do that, the circles that I've pulled out here are places from the original picture of the dress, which this is, where I think you can most effectively see white and gold versus black and blue. And so this is the other determinant of the dress, is like, where did your eyes land first? Where your eyes landed first, that's going to dictate a lot about what you see the color. So your eyes land somewhere first, you do the color constancy thing, then you do the hysteresis thing as you're taking in the rest of the image. There you go. And your brightness is set somewhere and your color is set somewhere so that your color constancy system can compensate for those. Okay, so on your upper left, the circle over here, this is clearly, if you just looked at this, gold. If you looked at it without the knowledge that it's from the dress, probably I shouldn't have put the picture of the dress here at all. This is gold. And then I can see how that could be white down below. It's really light blue. And in fact, I'm going to tell you that while I was talking just now, I did start to see it as white, which was the weirdest feeling. So while you're listening to this, just look at these colors, and they might kind of change on you as you're, and they're not changing. Nothing's happening to the colors right now. I'll tell you when I change things. I'm not changing anything right now. And then bottom right, this I think is the best place to see black and blue. It's from one of the more shaded parts of the dress. I think that's where you can most obviously see black and blue. Okay. And then the full picture is in the middle here. So this is brightness. It's not the original. So the pictures that I have left and right are pictures from the original. But I think I've dimmed this a little bit. And now I've brightened it. So we go from blue and black to white and gold. And this could be what's going on with some brightness settings. If your phone was dark at first, you see blue and black. If your phone was bright, you see white and gold. You're more likely to see white and gold. And again, so I brightened up this one on the top left. That looks really white and gold to me now that I see it. The other one's still black and blue. There's a little color temperature going on too. So now I'm going to adjust brightness and color temperature. Color temperature, to take a quick detour, is essentially what's going on with light bulbs. So this light bulb that I have in this room, and I've got another light here too, so you can see all of them. It's like it's a video recording thing, but we've got 3-point lighting. Anyway, this is a filament bulb, which is like hot. It's making my room even more warm than it usually is in Arizona. But this is also a filament bulb. So you get that like warm lighting, kind of yellow tint to it. Other rooms have LED lights in them, which are a lot more cool and bluish colored. And so that's color temperature. So I can also correct this for color temperature, which is what we're going to look at now. Here's low brightness and color temperature corrected for LED lighting. Very black and blue. And then here is brightness up and color corrected for filament warm lighting. really white and gold. So all we're doing is changing the brightness and correcting for the color temperature a little bit. Correcting for color temperature is basically doing color constancy, but with a digitally with a device. Okay. Here's again pictures from the original dress. Those two different places. So if you come into these and you look at these two different spots, you may have a different perception of the entire dress. White and gold at the top. Oh, it did it again. I can really see it as white and gold at that little circle now, but still black and blue in the bottom. Here's the original dress. Okay, so what we're going to do now is cut out all of the extraneous information around the sides. There is information on the sides, and depending on if you first looked at the sides, you may have a perception of this as blue and black. If you looked first directly into the center of the dress, you may see it as white and gold. So what I'm going to do is cut away everything that isn't dress. And then what I'm going to do is change the background. And immediately right there, I did see a pretty big difference. But let's go a little further with this. So let's put it on a blue background. If you look at this for a little while, I can kind of start to see some of the blue color draining out of this. I don't see it switching to white. I see it as like a very light grayish blue. But I do see it change. It's not as obviously blue as I usually see it. And then if we switch it over here to yellow, it does seem like the blue comes back. So that's interesting. Although I've showed this to a few people and they actually say the opposite. With the yellow around the edge, it makes it look more white and gold. So I'm not sure what's going on there. It's possible that this yellow is very similar to the gold color, and so it heightens that perception. Okay, and then the last thing that we're going to look at here is I've taken the brightness up, color temperature up, and brightness down, color temperature down versions of the background and put the original picture of the dress on top. And I need to not be here, or at least I need to be smaller. Let's go smaller. There we go. Much better. So I think this does a lot to show the difference. I can see lots of remember, this is the exact same dress. I've cut the dress out of the original picture and popped it onto these different backgrounds. It's everything on the dress is the same. I want to highlight this hip area right here. I absolutely see white over here on the hip and like a goldish color here. It's the same picture. I don't see that here at all. The real color coming off of it is identical. I don't see that. And then a similar thing's going on up here on the shoulder of this sleeve coming across. This looks white to me. This looks blue. So interesting. Okay, one more thing on this is I'm going to throw some bars across. So we've got blue to blue, black to black, just like we saw with Rubik's Cube. And same thing again. What I'm seeing going on here is it looks like it's changing. It looks like the bar that I've thrown across is changing. It's not. It's the same color. It's just to prove to you that this is the same image. Same color in both places. But the bar looks like it's changing. It looks like a dark gray on the left to me and then comes across to turn into gold as it's moving across. Likewise, this one looks bluish gray, and here it's pretty much just gray. Interesting. So that's the dress. Let's do the same thing with the shoe. So here's color temperature. This is, I gotta move my head again. This is color temperature corrected for like LED cool lighting. Here's 60 watt filament lighting. Obviously this is like gray and green, gray and teal. This is pink and white. Huge difference. But I'm manipulating that one. I'm totally manipulating all the color temperature there. Here, the same thing again. I've pulled apart little circles that I think most obviously shows pink and white, and most obviously shows gray and green. And then here's cutting away all of the extraneous information. All we see is just the shoe, no background. And then let's put the actual shoe in different color context. So here it is in the context of blue surrounding. I'm seeing a lot of pink on this one. And then if we throw it into a yellow context, I start to see the shoe as kind of tan. And then we've got the same thing that I did with the dress at the end here, which is I've taken the color temperature corrected 60 watt lighting on the left, LED lighting on the right. I've taken the exact same shoe and plopped it on top of both of these backgrounds, the original shoe illusion, and definitely there's some differences here. Let's look at the lines. So first one, I got to get rid of my head. Why is it always in the way? Okay, first one is the sole of the shoe. Looks kind of greenish on the, I don't know. This one, I don't really see either. One is white because they're in the shade, in the shadows right here. So one looks like kind of just gray, and the other one looks greenish gray. Gray on the left, greenish gray on the right. Then up here, I've got tan and pink. Not really seeing it as white anymore. It's either tan or pink. Switched between the two. And then the other place that I saw some like obvious pink color, what looked obvious to me, is this little spot right here. And so threw a bar on that. And this kind of looks just like a dusty purple in one side, and then it goes to very tan brown colors on the other side. Remember, these are the same color. They're just crossing the color temperature barrier. So those are color illusions. I want to take a look at some other illusions that are popular right now. So if you've seen these, moving the wrong part of my background. Technical difficulties. Okay. There we go. So one of the reasons that these illusions are popular right now is because you can use AI image creators to make them, whereas before you had to like actually manipulate them with Photoshop usually. But these are called high and low spatial frequency illusions. So on the top, if you wear glasses, put them on. If you're nearsighted, put your glasses on. Otherwise, get close to your screen. And what you should see... Yeah, okay. What you should see is on the left, I'm just talking about the faces on the top. On the left, that face is angry, and the face on the right is calm. Now, if you take your glasses off, or squint, or get up and move to the back of the room, you'll see them switch. And all of a sudden, the one on the left is calm, and the one on the right is angry. And then you probably, while you're doing this, are also noticing that the thing down below has turned into Shrek. First, it's just some like military ladies eating pizza. And then when you squint or take your glasses off or go far away from the screen, it turns into Shrek. Both of these are versions of the high and low spatial frequency illusion. So what's going on is there's different levels of information encoded into these different frequencies. So the high frequency is like sharp lines and fine structures. If you look at the angry guy on the left, when you're up close, you can see the wrinkles, the really obvious distinctions in the teeth, all that. The eyes, the slant on the eyes is really obvious, like this angry furrowing of the brow. That's really sharp lines, really sharp lines. Same thing, the pizza, the individual hair strands on these ladies down below, their patches on their uniforms, really sharp lines, really fine detail, fine structure. And then the other stuff is really low spatial frequency. It's big blocks of color, there's blurred structure. That's what's the difference between high and low spatial frequency. One is fine structure, one is large structure. So when you're up close, the high frequency dominates because you can make out all of these fine details. And it's kind of like you're too close to the image to actually see what the large structure is. It's too big. It's not where your focus is. Your focus is moving all over inside and you can't see the big structure. When you move far away, the fine detail goes away, and then you can finally see the large overall structure. This is actually similar to how old newsprint and comic books were made. They're all done with dots. There's also some people that do what's called pointillism in art, where you just kind of like dot, dot, dot everything. And so you can see that what's going on, this is the exact same picture that I've just like enlarged in different steps, but all the way over on the left, it's just a face moving towards the right. It's a face that's kind of maybe got a little bit of modeling to it. As you move further to the right, you can kind of see that it's made up of dots, and all the way on the right, right under my head here, right there, it's just dots. Like, there's so much. I've zoomed in on this guy's mouth. I've zoomed in so far that you really can't tell that there's any structure of a face there at all. It's just differently colored dots. And that's what's going on with newsprint comic pictures. They're kind of using this high and low spatial frequency. They know that people aren't going to like get right up to looking at it. So it's okay if there's fine detail that you can see when you're next to it. Everybody's reading at a distance. So they're only going to see what you want them to see at the low spatial frequency. So we can prove this by putting these images through filters. And what I'm going to do first is I'm going to filter for high spatial frequency on the left, and I'm going to filter for low spatial frequency on the right. What this is going to do is bring out the sharp lines on the left and then blur the heck out of everything on the right. So now let's jump back for a sec. Look at the faces. You can get close to your screen or put your glasses on, whatever. Look at those faces on the right. You see the left of the two on the right. The left one is angry. And then as I blur it, it changes. Right? That face has become calm. And all of a sudden, the one on the right of the right faces is angry. Likewise, if you look on the left and you blur your eyes, like squint, or you walk far away, you take your glasses off, whatever, now it doesn't change. That person is angry on the left the whole time. So we've gotten rid of, we've totally blown out the low spatial frequency on the left. We've totally blown out the high spatial frequency on the right. And all we're left with is the image that's still there, high on the left and low on the right. We can do that with Shrek down here too. You go high spatial frequency, and really all you can see is pizza and women. Like, you can even squint, but it doesn't look as nearly as Shrek-like anymore. It's just kind of like garbled. And then if we blur the whole thing, pretty much all you see is Shrek, no matter how close you get. So that's the difference there. There's one last one that kind of combines both illusions. It's a color illusion and it's a high and low spatial frequency illusion. So what I want you to do is just sit back and watch this. Don't get too close to your screen because it kind of breaks it, but that's okay. We're going to talk about that in a second. So what color is this drawn? What are the lines? What color are the lines drawn in? They're green, right? And then I can throw background on half of it, and it still looks green. I can throw a background on the other half of it, and it still looks green. It's the same color of green, even though there's a different background. This is not getting weird yet. And then I'm going to throw some stripes on top of it. The stripes are exactly the same color, right? It's either red and baby blue stripes on one side and red and baby blue stripes on the other. The only thing that's changing here is what color of stripe is the green drawing obscuring. So it's either obscuring the red stripes or on the left, or it's obscuring the baby blue stripes on the right. But if you sit back, my chair is so noisy, and you say, what color is this drawn in? It's kind of a turquoisey, teal, maybe blue color on the left, and brown on the right. The color of line totally changes here. And again, this is like both illusions at once. It's changing your perception of the color. And one of the reasons it's changing your perception of the color is because as you're at further distance, you start looking at low spatial frequency. So what happens then is the lines blur together. The red and green blur together to make some sort of a brown. The blue and the green blur together to make like a turquoisey teal. If you get right up close to your screen right now, you can see that you can start to pull apart and see that it is the same color of green. But this is one of those that's like not cognitively penetrable. Like, you know what's going on. You know it's the same color of green. But if you move back far enough, the color changes again. And you can start to pull it apart, but it still looks like a different color. Okay, that's the illusions. That's the stuff, man. This is what got me into cognitive science. So illusions are the thing that got me into cognitive science. Really fun stuff. Okay, hopefully that was interesting.